Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. I've been tagged recently in a number of holiday-themed tags, which I think are just wonderful. I did one last week. That was Renee's at Beyond Books. And I'm going to do another one today, and this is Nigel's at Reading Ideas. And this one is called The Christmas Tree Minor Crisis Book Tag for BookTube. And I was tagged by Nigel. So thank you very much, Nigel, for this tag. This is going to be a lot of fun. So the first prompt is pine needles on the floor. Talk about a work where nature strikes back. The first thing that came to my mind was Zora Neale Hurston's novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God. There is a major event in nature in this novel. There's a massive hurricane that has very important consequences on the plot of the novel. And in fact, the title of the novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God, comes from the scene involving the hurricane. Number 2, Shards of Christmas Tree Balls to Pick Up. Talk about a work where something shatters or falls apart or someone gets stabbed. For that, I thought of William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Now, you could certainly argue that the entire world falls apart in this play because of the actions of Macbeth and his wife, Lady Macbeth, in disrupting the great chain of being. But there is actually a lot of physical stabbing that takes place in this play as well. King Duncan is killed very early in the play by stabbing. And Macbeth and his wife, Lady Macbeth, spend the rest of the play dealing with both literal and metaphoric blood on their hands. Number 3, an ornament catches the eye. Talk about a minor character who steals the show. For that, I thought of Harper Lee's novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, there are a lot of characters in this book. The main characters are generally considered to be Atticus Finch and his children, Scout and Jem Finch, but there's a really important minor character in this book named Boo Radley, and much of the plot, even though we only see him in a few scenes, much of the plot actually revolves around him. In the beginning of the novel, he's considered to be this almost monstrous character, and there are all kinds of rumors going around about him. But he ends up playing a very, very important role in the outcome of the plot, and the resolution, rather, of the plot. And so this minor character that we don't even see for most of the novel ends up having really critical importance on the story as a whole. Okay. Number 4, lights are tangled and a couple of them are out. Talk about a mystery, a tangled story with twists and turns. What came to mind is what I've just finished reading, Claudia Piñeiro's Time of the Flies. This is the book that we're reading for the Piñeiro project. We're finishing this up now. We're going to be discussing it for another week. And this is a sequel to a book that we've already discussed, and that was All Yours. There are just incredible and totally unexpected twists and turns in this mystery or thrill. This is really a thriller. Claudia Piñeiro is an Argentinian crime writer, and she takes on some really big and important issues in her culture, in her society, through these crime stories. And this one is just filled with really, really just awesome twists and turns. Okay, number 5. A candle catches the tree on fire. Fire burns the place down or is important to the work as a whole. For that, I thought of another book that I used to teach, William Golding's Lord of the Flies. And this is my very, very beat up copy from teaching it for many years. Fire is really important in this novel. It starts out as a positive symbol in the story. When the boys who are left, they're on this deserted island and they're left to survive, they learn how to make fire early in the story. And so initially, fire is considered a very important part of their society because it's going to be used for a couple of purposes. One is that it's going to be kept going all the time so that it can serve as a signal fire to help them get rescued. And then as they learn to hunt and they eventually hunt wild pigs, they also use this fire as a means of cooking their pigs. So it becomes a really important part of survival. But as the boys in this society gradually, actually not so gradually, begin to devolve into a pretty violent and savage society, they begin to use fire for very destructive purposes, and they begin to use it as a weapon against each other. And in fact, they almost burn the entire island down. So I thought that was a very fitting example for this prompt. Okay, number 6, sweets and chocolates. Talk about a sickly sweet story that you can't resist or that you dislike, or a story with sweets and chocolates in it. For that, I thought of Virginia Woolf's novel, Mrs. Dalloway. And in particular, I was thinking of one scene that features chocolate eclairs. And I mean, it's not a big part of the novel, but it's a very, very highly charged scene where characters are experiencing, powerful feelings toward one another around the eating of chocolate eclairs. So that was the first thing that came to my mind for this one. Okay, number 7. Fallen angel. and Nigel was talking about trying to get the angel on the top of the tree and it going tilting or falling, and the prompt is talk about a fallen or flawed hero. For that, I thought of a book. This is a major part of my reading this year, and I talked about this many times on the channel, and that was Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. And the character that I'm thinking of is our hero, Jean Valjean, who certainly, he sees himself as a very, very flawed character. And I think he sees himself as a fallen figure. He behaves in an immensely heroic manner through most of the novel, but he is pursued just relentlessly by the law throughout the course of the novel, and he sees himself, and I guess that's the most important thing, that he sees himself as a very damaged and flawed figure, though the reader doesn't really see him that way at all. And number 8, the perfect Christmas book, nostalgia. Talk about a book that connects the past and the present. And Nigel's example for this was one that I might have thought of as well for this, and that would be, the classic Charles Dickens A Christmas Carol. So I didn't want to pick the same thing that Nigel picked. So I chose The Big Book of Christmas Mysteries. This is one of these wonderful Otto Penzler collections. I have a number of these, and they're just these, massive, massive books that bring together all kinds of works on whatever the theme is. But in this case, these are all mysteries and whodunits throughout time, but they're all related to the Christmas season, and they have a Christmas theme. And the first section of the book is called A Traditional Little Christmas. And he includes here works by Agatha Christie, Ellis Peters, Ellery Queen, but there's just all these different sections just dealing with different aspects of the Christmas Christmas season. John D. MacDonald is in here, Arthur Conan Doyle, Damon Runyon. It just goes on and on. More Agatha Christie, but all of them, and some of them are very or more recent stories, but some of them are fairly traditional and old. But this is just a wonderful collection. So just seeing some of the names gives me kind of a nostalgic feeling. And the other thing that I thought of, and I don't have this book, but the word nostalgia makes me think of it, and that's the novel on which the movie A Christmas Story was based. And that was a novel by the comic writer Gene Shepard. I don't have a copy of it, but that's just a perfect example of nostalgia around the Christmas season. Okay. And then finally, tag some people. So if you are watching this and you'd like to get in on some of the holiday spirit, I hope that you will consider doing the Christmas Tree Minor Crisis book tag. So if you're watching, please consider yourself tagged. And in addition, I'm going to tag a few people. I would like to tag Jess Book Girl TV, Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics, Kelly Loves Books and Movies, Charles at CG Rated Books, Renee at Beyond Books, Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club, Jen at Literary Love 123, Meg at Books Off the Beaten Path, Alex at Alex Unabridged, Josh at Already Overbooked, and Debs at Rainer Reads Stuff. And anybody else who's watching, if you'd like to get into some holiday cheer, I hope that you'll consider yourself tagged as well. This was really fun. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.